All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the SHIPIT Nation MLB Witching Hour show. We got 4 games on tap. We got the day slate going. Came in with a little tunes bumping. Hopefully, everyone's day slate's going well. Need these Mariners to bring it home for me, at least to make some cheese, which we always love to make some cheese. Little day baseball going on in the middle of the day. We love that. I see a bunch of familiar faces in the chat. The standard baseball grinders in here. September 20th on the schedule. We're almost to October baseball, Hebrew. But we got Paraby in here. We got Sean. We got Tweezy. We got Tyler B. We got Eric. We got my boy, Title Crown. Our guy, Title Crown, in the chat. If you guys are new, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hebrew, I'll bring you in right away. Rio, the king. How we doing, man? How's your Wednesday going? How's your day baseball? How's your week been? How we doing, man?
Yeah, doing good. Had a really good Sunday for football. Baseball's been a little rough these last 2 days. I was the chalk donkey that played the Guardians 2 nights in a row. Hasn't turned out to be that good, but you know, we move on to another day. It's daily fantasy. We gotta live to fight another day. So yeah, we'll talk through this 4-gamer. It's not the best. It's always hard to get a little bit different on a small 4-game slate, but you know, we'll talk through everything. Talk through some places we can make some stands to gain some leverage on everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you and I were had good Sundays going, really good Sundays going. Obviously, that overtime game at the end hurt me a little bit. Tony Pollard, McCarthy's dumb. What I don't even know what that was. That definitely hurt us. Costed you possibly potentially a live final seat. And overall, but hey, guess what? We move on. There's always more money to be made. MLB, MMA. You name it, there we got it. And obviously week 3 here, NFL kicks off tomorrow, Thursday night. We got you all covered over here at ShipItNation.com. Do want to throw this up there real quick just to remind everyone, $19. You can get all of our premium access. Give it a little test, a little trial, a little dip your toes in the sand, a little feeling before you make that commitment for the month or the year-long package there at that $69, $6.99 for the year. There is a 6-month package as well that will run you through the end of the NFL. You'll get the NHL season in there. You'll get much of the NBA season, obviously the end of MLB here as well. One call out, you get everything on the premium side, including the 4-hour tutorial course with NFL with this $19 package, but you do not get the Discord access, which is such a pivotal part over here at ShipItNation.com. We pride ourselves in the Discord. Very, 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 very non-toxic Discord. Incredible stuff in there. No tilting. Just amazing people helping amazing people in there. So we love that. $19 is get you access. Like I said, 5 days, give you a little trial. Hopefully you stick around, you sign up, you join us because we got some of the best time of the year coming. Obviously NFL full swing, NBA, man, these projections that we have for NBA are next level. I'll tell you that right now. So a little foreshadow there, but let's do it. We got 4 games on tap here, Rio. Let's talk starting pitching like we always do. Got 3 guys that the slate's kind of focused around. 2 guys up at the top. We got Bobby Miller. We got Kevin Gausman. Justin Steele is going to be slightly behind Bobby Miller and Gausman, I think. But all those guys are going to be between 35 and 50% ownership, I would say. And then you got the cheap guy down at the bottom, Mr. Michael King, which is definitely an interesting talking point because you and I were talking pre-show. That's the best hitting weather on the slate there in New York versus that Toronto Blue Jays team there. 5,900 for him. It allows you to do whatever you want with the bat. So hit on those 4 in particular. Let's cover the entire pitching slate. We won't go tiers, obviously, with only 4 games, 8 pitchers to talk about here. Zach Thompson, maybe a little interesting down there, but hit on those chalk pieces for sure. Where are you going? What's your interest?
Yeah, so for me, Kevin Gausman's going to be the SP1 for me, like far and away. He's got the cleanest matchup. Good K rate over the last 30 days. Yankees are striking out a good bit. They're the lineup's been getting worse and worse. It's all watered down now. You got dusty Giancarlo Stanton right there in the middle of the lineup. So you're not worried about them really hurting you that much. Gausman is a little sketchy sometimes because he can give up some walks, but I think he's just got the cleanest matchup. And on the other side of the game, Michael King's going to come in very highly owned, and I mean I can't really argue with it that much. He's super cheap, really high K upside. He doesn't have the innings upside, so he might not go 6-7 innings. You might get 4 to 5 out of him, but he's got 8-9 K upside. And yeah, similar story for Toronto. On the other side, they're kind of slipping a little bit. They have some decent bats. I could see you wanting to stack them a little bit to gain some leverage on King. So I kind of think that's interesting. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Cy Young candidate Justin Steele. He's probably going to come in, I would say, rivaling 2 or 3 highest owned on the slate, and it's hard to really argue that. Pirates are not a team that you're not afraid to start a pitcher against them. And Steele's he's a stud, man. He's gonna be battling for the Cy Young. I think this would be a big pivotal game for him. Probably going to come out pretty hot. Going to want to take the lead in the Cy Young war. So I like him. He'll probably be number 2 or 3 for me. And Bobby Miller probably has the second cleanest matchup, or you could say first too, against Detroit. They suck, and Bobby Miller is he's good. He's got a good K stuff. Been really solid all year. But that's gonna be. I don't think I'm really gonna be able to get to Mitch Keller here. He's a good real life pitcher. He's gone over 30 DraftKings points 3 out of his last 5 starts, but I like the Cubs bats a little bit more than I like Keller from a pitching standpoint. And for the St. Louis Milwaukee game, you got to really keep an eye on the weather. If we get the green light that it's going to be a go, I think you can make a case for Thompson. He's a decent real life pitcher, some good K upside, but I probably just can be full fading that game both sides. So that's where I'm at for pitching.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. We're a little bit different. My SP1 on the slate, salary, everything considered, is Justin Steele. I just don't see any way around not playing Justin Steele here against these Pirates. Think the Cubs could possibly get to Mitch Keller, but I also don't hate him on a small slate here. You look at Mitch Keller's last 5 games, they've been very good outside of one start here. And everyone just saw these Cubs go off last night, right? You needed the Cubs to win money. Recency bias is a real thing, especially on Tuesday, right? When no other sports are going on. Everyone's playing MLB. And now you got a 4-game slate here. Cubs rivaling the Dodgers and the Cardinals for the highest implied run total on the slate. Mitch Keller could very, very, very well go out here at sub 15% ownership and shut these Cubs down. So I do love Justin Steele here. I think Mitch Keller is a good GPP option. Obviously, you can always play Kevin Gausman. I'm going to be a little bit under on Kevin Gausman there, just at his ownership, the price point. I've seen Kevin Gausman's burned me one too many times on a short slate here where everyone's kind of pushing the chips in on him. I think I'll be a little under, and I'll rather eat the chalk there with Bobby Miller against Detroit. I think Bobby Miller's got a great matchup there. Ranks pretty good in our rankings over here. I think he's fine. It's hard on a 4-game slate, right? With one game where I don't want to play any pitchers from, and you mentioned that is that St. Louis Milwaukee game, because that is the one spot on the slate that has weather concerns. Kevin Roth has it tagged as yellow-orange right now. And there's pretty good chance there's going to be rain in that game, pretty much the duration of that. So don't really want to mess with the one spot where there's weather in terms of pitching. Could pay off. It could definitely pay off because everyone sees the same thing there. But right now, Thompson's still projected to get pretty decent ownership. So I think he's fine. Michael King, I'm just going to try and not play Michael King. I'm going to try and just find some cheaper value bats instead of play the value pitcher that everyone wants to kind of play. I mean, 40 to 50% on Michael King. I mean, I get it, right? He does have strikeout upside. The strikeout stuff has been there, but I'm going to take my chances and just not play that. So for me, it's Justin Steele, Mitch Keller, Bobby Miller for me on the slate pretty much is where I'm living. Seems like it's a little bit different than you, but obviously I can't fault anyone for playing Kevin Gausman or Michael King. I'm just going to get a little bit different where I can because Steele's still going to get ownership. Bobby Miller's still going to be one of the highest owned pitchers on the slate. Mitch Keller's kind of my low owned guy when you factor in the recency bias of the Cubs nuking the slate last night. So that's where I'm at for pitcher. Go ahead and just give the people your top 3 real quick, and then we'll go game by game.
Yeah, so it's going to be Gausman number 1, Miller 2, and then King number 3, just solely based off the price and K upside, and then Steele would be right on the outside for me.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we're a little bit different there. I got Steele number 1, Bobby Miller 2, and then Mitch Keller would be 3 for me as the low owned guy. That's going to do the pitch and breakdown. Again, if you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Obviously, we only have 4 games to talk about here with this wonky slate that DraftKings decided to do, a main slate at 11 o'clock this afternoon, and not move this time up to include the 2 other games. So I guess we'll hit on those real quick. The Mets, the Marlins, and the Angels Rays. I didn't look at it too much, but I'll just bring it up real quick because the FanDuel slate does start earlier. So if you are FanDuel players, we will hit on that. There is 2 more games on the FanDuel slate. It's a 6-game slate versus a 4-game slate. I do think Aaron Savale comes into play when you look at the FanDuel slate in terms of pitching. He's just 8,300 on FanDuel. Gets this Angels team with no Trout, no Ohtani, strikeouts galore in this lineup. So I do like Aaron Savale quite a bit on FanDuel. I'm personally not playing on FanDuel tonight, but if I was, Savale would be one of my favorite pitchers over there. I'll throw it to you, Hamwich. Not Hamwich, excuse me, Rio. Still getting used to this new schedule here. Do a show with basically someone new every day now that NFL is going on here. But let's talk about the Mets, the Marlins real quick because it is on that FanDuel slate. Mets 3.75 implied run total. Marlins sitting right around 4 implied run total. Yuri Perez, Kodai Senga on the mound. Senga, good real-life pitcher. Yuri Perez definitely has a strikeout. Both of these guys have big strikeout upside, right? Big strikeout arms, sitting right around 30% on the season. For me, don't see a ton of bats in this one. I think it's more of a pitcher's duel. Really won't have any interest if I was playing FanDuel. Do you see anything different?
Yeah, I don't play FanDuel much, but I'll just touch on just like some advanced numbers that I'm seeing. Uri's looks like he's been struggling a little bit last 30 days. So I think you could probably mini stack the Mets, go with like 3 of the top 4 guys. You know, we got DJ Stewart batting in the 3 hole, so he's got big home run upside. And then if I was looking to get a main stack in, it would probably be the Tampa side. Detmers, I think he's a decent real life pitcher, but he's really struggled a lot lately. He's got big K upside, but it's really come down a lot last 30 days. So I would be looking to stack up the Rays, and then yeah, I agree with you on Savale. Probably be my I don't know the FanDuel slate, but if it's just a 2-gamer, he'd be the SP1. But yeah, that's where I'd be going. Mets and Tampa.
Yeah, I have a little interest on the Mets side as well, right? DJ Stewart, Pete Alonso, those guys. DJ Stewart just 2,800 on FanDuel. I think that's a good price tag. Brandon Nimmo, 3,100. That's a good price point there. We got some cheap guys. Mauricio been a hero for me, 2,800. Jeff McNeil. So I do like the Mets a little bit. If you are playing that FanDuel slate, I think they make some sense. No Marlins for me. We'll hit on the Angels and the Rays real quick before we jump into the DraftKings slate, which majority of the chat and viewers here are likely playing. Angels heading into Tampa to face Savale and the Rays. No interest for me personally on the Angels side. I like Savale if I'm playing that slate, and I think these Rays bats are definitely interesting. One of the highest totals on the slate against a bad pitcher here in not a terrible pitcher, but I mean Reed Detmers. We know what Detmers is, and these Rays do have some high power bats against left-handed pitching, so I think they make some sense. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. You can look to Isaac Paredes. Yandy's been crushing this year. Bethancourt in the 9 hole if you need to get a catcher's spot. I actually don't think you need to play catcher on FanDuel, so scratch that. But yeah, I'll be looking at Isaac Paredes and Yandy Diaz mostly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can always play catcher on FanDuel. They do typically go lower owned, but I think the Rays are definitely a good stack over there. That's the 2 games that are on FanDuel. These next 4 games are also on FanDuel, but mainly this is the main DraftKings night slate here that we're going to hit on. First game I'm looking at is that weather game there. Well, not weather game, but the best hitting environment there in Yankee Stadium. Temperatures in the upper 60s, low 70s, wind blowing kind of out to right field a little bit. Not a huge factor, but 4 to 5 miles an hour is what I'm seeing here. Gausman on the mound, Michael King, both pitchers going to be chalk. I think the Blue Jays make a little bit more sense here. I don't really want to pick on Kevin Gausman too much with these Yankees. You can obviously always play Aaron Judge, Stanton, just home run power hunting there. But I think these Blue Jays make a little sense in terms of a contrarian stack, right? Michael King, I get it, right? He has a 30% strikeout rate in his limited sample, but it's still a very limited sample. Do we know that this guy's going to be a very like a quality major league arm at this point? he looks like he can be sufficient at this level, but again, it's early, and it's a one game sample here, or one night sample where these Blue Jays just need to get to him as a very chalky pitcher here. So I don't hate some of these Blue Jays. Vlad Guerrero, Springer, Bichette, Biggio's up in the cleanup spot at just 2,700. You got Matt Chapman hitting 5th. Spencer Horwitz. I mean, you got Dalton Varsho down there. These Blue Jays are super, super cheap. So that's when you talk about the build, right, on DraftKings, which I like to spend up at pitcher here tonight and not play Michael King. So naturally, it just gives me some of these Blue Jays where it flips the build, where people are punting the pitcher to spend up on some of these expensive bats. You're going to talk about the Cubs. We'll talk about the Brewers and the Cardinals, where everyone wants to play, in the Dodgers. Flip the build. Go double spend and play some of these value Blue Jays. A little double leverage is kind of what I see interesting here. They do still have right around a 4 implied run total, which is right kind of in the middle on the slate, right? So I do like these Blue Jays. Are you with me?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no bats are really standing out as a better play than any of the other ones. So it's like you got to really start to think about your build and how you want to get different with it, because you know that most likely everybody is going to be playing Gossman, going Michael King, and then paying up for the Dodgers, I'm assuming, or playing with the Milwaukee side. So I do think that playing the Blue Jays, even though I do like Michael King, you know, we still don't really know. He's a bullpen arm converted into a starter. Obviously, really, really high upside. Good. He's got good pitching, good stuff. But you know, you look at the numbers. He's not a super high ground ball pitcher, even though he throws sinker ball, you know, 45% of the time. Seen some pretty decent high fly ball numbers. So yeah, that does interest me a little bit on the Toronto side. They're probably going to come in decently low owned, I'm assuming. So yeah, that would be a stand I'd be looking to take, just to get to Toronto and then fade Michael King, and then hope that they can get to him early and put up some runs, because it is the best hitting weather on the slate. And yeah, King is going to probably come in number 1 or number 2 in terms of ownership.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. Yeah, so for the fly ball guys, because yeah, King is a fly ball pitcher, at least over the last month, sitting right around 36% fly ball rate to both sides of the plate here. I would stay away from Horwitz, Kiermaier, Alejandro Kirk. They're 60, right around 55 to 60% ground ball hitters. So I want the guys that can get the ball in the air. That's Dalton Varsho, Chapman, Bichette, Vladdy, Kevin Biggio. Those 5 would kind of be my favorite. You got a little 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 stack, a little 8, 2, 3, 4, a little wraparound stack there. So I do like that stack quite a bit. Obviously, you could include Springer in there if you want, but Springer is pretty significant ground ball guy as well. Doesn't really hit the ball in the air too much, kind of just barrels it up, hits it through the holes. So I think these Blue Jays are definitely my sneaky stack of the night here, because it is a fly ball guy. Strikeouts are going to come with that, but best hitting weather, slight wind blowing out, decent conditions. I'll take my chances here on a short slate leverage where nobody really wants to go. At least that's what I'm seeing. So I do like those Toronto guys a little bit. Next game, let's talk about it. It's the Cubs. That you needed the Cubs. Our guy Hoop almost shipped all the money. Still had a very, very good night last night. A lot of members also played these Cubs. And I have to give my guy in the chat, King of Smack, a little victory lap here. He said, "What about those Cubs last night?" And I said, "I'm not going to go there." And he definitely got the upper hand there. King of Smack, we appreciate you always being in here. Hopefully you had a great night last night. Looks like you did a 5-man Cub stack and definitely had a profitable night. So congratulations there. We love to see that. A lot of our members, Hoop had them all over his content, but that's one of the things here. It's not just a groupthink site, right? Where Hoop's on the Cubs, I'm going to go in there and also put the Cubs, and then you go check out our content. Everyone's on the same thing. So if that's not how we operate. Obviously, we all have our own opinions. We break down slate, analyze slates differently. That's one of the nice things about ShipItNation.com over here too. So I'll take my L there. Congratulations, King of Smack. But tonight, I think it's a little different story. The Cubs do still have one of the highest implied run totals here. Mitch Keller has been very good over his last 5 outside that one start there. Looking at it, that one start that he had against the Braves. But hey, anyone can get blown up against the Braves, especially in Atlanta, right, in Truist Park there. Outside of that, he just faced these Cubs, just threw up, 30, almost 31 DraftKings points, won 8 innings, had 6 strikeouts. I think we could see a decent performance here out of Mitch Keller again. Again, looking at the weather in Wrigley, temperatures are pretty good for hitting, right? 75 degrees, wind slightly blowing out, doesn't really matter too much, kind of more blowing right to left. I see temperatures in the 70s. They could obviously do it. They're hitting the baseball well right now, but I do think they get more ownership, especially after last night. So I'm a little bit under on these Cubs. Wouldn't hate it. I like both pitchers in this one. So as a game, in terms of bats, I'm definitely under on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you. I want to see how the ownership shakes out first before making a full stand on this game, because right now it's, they're getting some decent ownership, but it's not too out of hand. Seeing a lot of Milwaukee right now. So if their ownership stays down pretty low, I don't mind them. I would want to go with the guys I know are going to stay in the game, because there are a couple people that do have some slight pinch hit risk, like Talkman at the 1 hole, Mastrobuoni in the 9 hole. I'm sure if they brought in a lefty, those guys would be the first ones to get pulled. But yeah, more so I would like this as a mini stack if I'm looking to go there. I like Hap a good bit. I like Dansby and Seiya. Suzuki, he's been really hot lately, and Mitch Keller has got, he's been giving up a little bit more to the right-hand side of the plate lately with a .157 ISO over the last 30 days. 0.355 WOBA last 30. High ground ball rate, which I don't love to see, but you're really just hoping that they can get to him early, get him pulled, and then that bullpen's got to be taxed after giving up 14, 15 runs last night. So maybe they can get to Keller early and get to that pen.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. Yeah, I like these guys a little bit more as a mini stack. Just looking at last 30-day numbers against righties, Keller has been good or decent over the last month too. The best hitters for the Cubs over the last 30 days are Suzuki, obviously number 1, Swanson, Christopher Morel. So if you want a 5, 6, 7 stack there, that's your little mini stack. A little back half of that order, you're leaving out the guys at the top, the cheaper bats, the Bellingers, those guys. Ian Happ, I think is fine too. So I actually don't hate like a 3, 5, 6 stack or like a 3, 5, 7 stack, something like that, where you're skipping Bellinger, you're skipping Talkman, Horner at the top. You're not playing Yan Gomes, the mid-priced catcher there. So I do think they're fine as a mini stack. Again, it's only a 4-game slate. You have to play more than just one team on the slate. I'm only playing one lineup tonight. So not going to 5-man these Cubs. On the Pirates side, don't hate it. I don't love anything really on the Pirates side. Justin Steele, again, my favorite pitcher of the slate. So I think there's better spots on that one. 2 games left. Let's talk about the chalk. Both sides of this in terms of offense are the 2 chalkiest teams on the slate here. You got Adrian Hauser, Zach Thompson on the mound. There is weather concern here. Both offenses are going to get played as well. I think I would definitely monitor the closer we get to lock. Kevin Roth, watch his updates for it. I'd be off the pitching in this one for sure with the weather concerns, but if this game does play, I think you can definitely go to each side of this game. Josh Donaldson, I'll continue to bring him up against a lefty. I like him. Tyrone Taylor, he can swipe bags, hit for power against lefties. He's just 3,100 there, hitting 6th. I think he's fine. William Contreras, historic lefty masher, and Mark Canha at the top of that lineup at just 3,400. Hits lefties very good, been very good over the last month as well. So I like some of those Brewers there. A little bit lower on Carlos Santana. Sal Frelick, but Frelick had a good night last night. A little lefty, has a ton of speed there too, so you can always play him. So really for me, it's the mini stack more on the Brewers, the Adames, Donaldson, Tyrone Taylor, Contreras, Mark Canha up at the top. I'm seeing Milwaukee as right now the highest owned stack of the night. So I'll take my chances at the Dodgers on a 4-game slate, a little bit lower ownership. They're still going to get ownership. Pretty much everyone's going to get ownership on the slate. That's just the nature of the slate. I'm going to take my chance on the Dodgers that we're going to talk about next to outscore these Brewers. But I think they're fine. And then the Cardinals side, obviously you can always play some of the Cardinals. They're going to get ownership as well here. But looking at last 30 numbers, definitely Hauser's been way worse against lefties. There's not a ton of lefties to play here. Palacios is cheap there for the Cardinals. Lars Nootbaar batting at the top. Then you got a bunch of righties, and Hauser has struck at 32% K rate over the last month to the righties. So a little bit under, to be honest, on the Cardinals side for sure. Maybe a little bit under on this game in general, just with the weather concerns and the projected ownership. Do you see something I'm missing here?
Mostly I'm in lockstep with you. I definitely am under on the Milwaukee side. I wouldn't fault anybody for going there. Mark Canha's really good against lefties. Contreras, like you said, lefty masher historically. Willie, good lefty hitter. So those would only be the three I want to go to, because I do think Thompson's like he's really not that bad of a pitcher, and I don't think that this Brewers lineup is very talented, and especially if they're coming in with high ownership, I'd want to be lower on them. I actually do kind of like the St. Louis side. I got to shout out my boy Lars Newbar. Actually went to high school with him, played baseball with him. Kid was a stud. Yeah, it's good to see him doing well in the majors. But yeah, the St. Louis side interests me a little bit more. I actually like the lineup that they put out right now. The 2 through 6 is actually pretty interesting, with starting at Goldie going down to Luke and Baker in the 6 hole. Hauser, I'm seeing actually he's been a little bit worse on the year versus lefties, but the last 30 days been a little bit worse versus righties, and they stacked up a few pretty good righty bats right there in the middle. You got Jordan Walker. He's come on a lot lately. Really, I think he's finding his groove as an MLB player. He's batting in the 3 hole. Got a 259 ISO last 30 days. Actually, I really like him there at the 3 hole. Contreras, he's kind of hard for me to play, because every time you do play him, he seems to go over 5 with 3 strikeouts, but then he does have the 2 home run upside, and he's batting in the 4 hole. I like Palacios since he got brought over to St. Louis. He's been hitting pretty well. So yeah, we just got to get the news that this game is actually going to play. There is a pretty big risk, because Roth has it marked as yellow-orange, which means there's a chance it gets delayed and possibly postponed, and then your lineups are obviously be dead. So you want to wait as close as you can to lock to make a decision on that. Or if we get news around like 7:30, try to build your lineup with the pivots in mind. If you have to get to Detroit because there's no clean pivots to the Dodgers, then you have to do that. But just keep all that in mind when you're building your lineups for this game.
Yeah, no, excellent point. I'm just trying to pull up the schedule here to see. Yeah, so they do play the Cardinals tomorrow. So if this game it is a day game. So if this game does get rained out tonight, you could definitely see a doubleheader tomorrow. So that's a little bit added risk there as well, right? They're still in St. Louis, and then they play St. Louis again at the end of September, the 26th, 27th, and 28th at home. So there is definitely time to make that game up, right? Play a doubleheader either tomorrow or play a doubleheader when St. Louis comes to Milwaukee. So a little bit added risk there as well. That's one thing I do like to look at when you have a situation like this, especially on a small slate. But I'm in lockstep with you. I definitely have more interest a little bit in the Cardinals side here against Hauser. I just don't think Hauser's a very good pitcher overall. I always got to shout out my guy though, Tyrone Taylor there at 3,100. I know Title Crown's probably listening in the chat. Him and I have loved this kid ever since he came over to Milwaukee. Obviously, he was hurt for a good portion of there, but he always smashes lefties, and he's just 3,100. So nice little one-off.
I know Tyrone too. Used to play baseball against him growing up around here in LA. Partied with him a few times. He's a cool dude.
Our guy Rio just played baseball. I mean, went to school with Lars Nootbaar, batting leadoff for the Cardinals. Partying with Tyrone Taylor. Partying with Tyrone Taylor, like hashtag how rich is Rio over here, man. Look at this guy coming on here, SHIPIT Nation, giving you the winners and the little background. So we love to see that. Hit the like button if you haven't already. 116 people in here, 45 with the like button. Helps us out a ton. Keeps these shows free for you, where all of our shows are free either on this channel or the Mayo Media Network, where our NFL shows do take place with Title Crown, Hoop, and Tambo. Last game of the night, it's the Tigers heading into LA. Nightcap. What does this game start? 3 hours after, about 2.5 hours after the Brewer game there. It's the Dodgers. Dodgers, my favorite offense of the slate. They're going to get ownership, but I'm seeing them as like the third or fourth highest owned stack, contesting right there with the Cubs. You're going to give me the Dodgers on a shorter slate where people want to play the Cardinals, want to play the Brewers, want to play the Cubs, even over the Dodgers. I'll take my chances when, especially if they rolled out the lineup that they rolled out last night, right? That lineup projected was pretty weak, and then they threw their big boys in there. So Mookie, Freeman, Smith, Muncy, JD Martinez hit a bomb last night. I think he's got a good shot to go back-to-back here tonight. I love this lineup top to bottom. You have a little bit of pinch hit concern there with Peralta, Hayward, Outman, all batting back-to-back right there, all lefties. If they get to Reese Olson early, I haven't looked at the pen usage from Detroit, but have to assume they're going to throw a lefty out of that pen as soon as they can. And one or two of those guys for sure are going to get pinch hit for when you got guys like Ahmed Rosario on the bench, Kiki Hernandez, those guys. So I think Outman would be my favorite lefty, and Peralta and Hayward probably would be a little bit under. So those are my least two favorite Dodger bats. Everyone else firmly in play for me. Dodgers, my favorite stack of the night. Tigers, you can always make a case to play a leverage against Bobby Miller. I do think he can test Gausman and the punt pitcher there. Yankees drawn a blank, but King as the slate. Torkelson's been good. Kerry Carpenter's been good. Those are really the only two bats that I would have interest in. Rio, where are you going in this one?
Yeah, I like the Dodgers the best here. My favorite stack of the night. You got to keep in mind when building your lineup, look and see in your tournaments where Michael King is owned, because I do think that's going to kind of dictate where we see the Dodgers come in. If Michael King is, 50, 60% owned, you're likely getting the Dodgers 30, 40%, I'm guessing. So you got to just keep that in mind when building. I don't think that necessarily makes them a bad play. They're obviously the best offense on the slate tonight, but we're trying to win, not trying to hold hands with everybody. But yeah, it's hard for me to really say anything negative. I love the matchup here for Muncy, Freeman, Outman. Like you said, he's definitely one of my favorite cheaper options in this lineup. You can really make a case to 5-man this 1 through 9, and I think you'll be pretty happy with it. And yeah, you did mention the Tigers. I do think you can get some really good leverage on them too by playing them. It's gross. Listen, I know the Tigers suck, but they have some decent hitters in the lineup. A lot of these young guys that they're just letting go out there and play freely. Torkelson's been hitting really good lately. Been really finding the power lately with his bat. And you look at Bobby Miller's last 30 days, been giving it up a little bit to righties, and their best hitter is a righty. So Torkelson, I do like him a little bit. Going to be a pretty low owned pivot off of what I assume will be a heavy owned Freddie Freeman. So I don't mind that at all. And if they have the handlebar guy Jake Rogers in the lineup, I like him too. He's got some pop. You're really just hoping for he runs into a home run. And I'm seeing some decent numbers at the bottom of the lineup too for Zach Short, Andre Lipkius. Not really sure how to pronounce that, but yeah, they're two righties, so that'll boost their matchup a little bit going against Bobby Miller. But I like Bobby Miller more so than I like the Detroit Tigers stack, obviously. But yeah, really, really into the Dodgers tonight. I did want to bring up Brian England made a good point in chat that the Dodgers and Tigers game is not on the FanDuel main slate. Yeah, thank you for pulling it up. So yeah, if it gets rained out, no late swapping. So you guys got to keep that in mind tonight. If you're playing FanDuel, it might be just a little bit too risky to get to that Milwaukee St. Louis game if we don't get answer if it's going to play or not. So.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. Our guy in the chat, Bill B, Lipschitz, he does have a 40% fly ball rate against a fly ball pitcher over the last month to righties. So looking at the fly ball righties, you got Jake Rogers, you got Lipschitz there, new name by Bill B in the chat, and Torkelson. So those three righties are my interest if you're looking for leverage there off of Bobby Miller. I got Big Show, my guy, Big Show Brandon in the chat. Nice to see him. I met him out in Colorado at the live final. He was out there for the NHL live final. Great dude out there.
Yeah.
He had a nice night in that live final out there too. I was out there with Tambo. We shared some drinks, got some food. Great dude there. So Brandon, we appreciate you tuning in.
I met Brandon out there too. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a great dude. It was awesome to see, and he was one of our first founding family members to sign up here too. Not very active in the Discord, but he's got his own process, sticks to it, but he likes to see all the tools and content and everything around the industry. So we appreciate you, Brandon, tuning in. That's going to do it for the breakdown. Let's go ahead and give our low-ish owned pitcher. I mean, it's pretty tough to do on this slate, but just give your favorite pitcher. And then let's go home run calls after that. I'll throw it to you, Hebrew. Where are you going?
Yeah, obviously it's really tough with only 8 pitches to choose from. I'll just take a shot on Mitch Keller. Just a bet on talent here. Had some good games, last 5 games. He's got similar upside as a lot of the guys. I think he's got more like inning upside than strikeout upside than everybody else. But matchup is not the cleanest. I'm just trying to make a case for a low-owned pitcher, so he would be my guy.
There we go. Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, little back-to-back jacks there. Don't have Julio, but we got Cal Raleigh. So these Mariners are getting the job done a little bit. We love to see that on that early slate, winning me some green there. So I'm going to lock arm in arm with you. I'm going to go Mitch Keller as well. I talked about him quite a bit. He was my third favorite pitcher on this slate. Just going to bet on talent, bet on his last performance. He doesn't need to go out there and get 30 points again against these Cubs. But if he goes out there and gets 20 on the slate, I'm more than happy with that at his ownership. So I do like Mitch Keller there. Getting pretty tough. Then my home run call. Oh, man, this is tough. Let me see here. I think this guy is going to get ownership here, but I really don't care. I think he goes back-to-back. I already called it. It's JD Martinez. Slated to hit fifth tonight here. I think he puts one deep off of Reese Olson. Love the Dodgers. Love everyone in that lineup. JD Martinez hitting the baseball very well right now. So I'm going to go right back to JD Martinez for a home run tonight. Again, we appreciate everyone in the chat hanging out with us. Hopefully we gave you a good enough breakdown for this four-gamer. Again, there's a lot of leverage. It's still baseball. But you can definitely make some pivots. Just a reminder that FanDuel slate does start at that 6:40 Eastern time zone, right, with those two early games that we hit on briefly at the top. So make sure you get your lineups in and locked before those games do go. Monitor that weather in that Milwaukee-St. Louis game. Both of those offenses seem to be the chalk of the slate. So definitely want to monitor that. Kevin Roth does great breakdown there following that. Hit the like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Good luck tonight in your contest for Hebrew. I am Nades. We'll catch you guys next time. Let's ship it.